So we now move over to Perplexity. Perplexity.ai. Perplexity is internet grounded AI. In other words, rather than just taking the response from its training data, it's going to use its training data to give you its response, in other words, to summarize and to analyze. But it's going to, the source of its response is coming from the internet. So this is the difference between using Perplexity and, say, using ChatGPT. ChatGPT will just use its training data unless you specifically ask it to use the internet, and it will, but even then it's not great. Perplexity is primarily grounded on the internet. So when it gives you a response, it's going to give you the web pages that specifically link to that response. So I'll give you an example. So let's say that we are carrying on from the previous video. We're doing our introduction to AQA biology and we're focusing on cell biology. And all I'm doing is saying, I want you to create an introductory document and I want you to include the main areas that have come from the syllabus and then what the learning objectives are, and then you use UK English. Now, you can see where it says Pro. I've got the Pro account here, but even if you don't have the Pro account, you get something like 10 Pro searches every 4 hours, I think it is. It's pretty good. So I'll explain in a moment why I think the Pro account's worth considering, but if it's just for search, the free account's probably going to be more than enough for you. So let's just set this off. What you'll find it start to do is it will go through actions. So what it's done here is it's broken my prompt down into 3 tasks. It's now searching relative to that task, and it's reading web pages relative to that task. So it's gone through a series of actions. In other words, it's gone through an agentic approach. It's working like an AI agent, autonomously going and doing stuff. And then you can see here it's actually referenced 8 sources, and then it breaks down the answer. So it gives me quite a nice card, quite like that. Click on more and it's going to show you more there, look, which is quite nice. And then it gives me a simple introduction, and then each of the sections, what is it, so on. It's done that well. It's quite nice, it's quite neat, and it's quite clean. What is also quite nice about Perplexity is it gives you related follow-on questions, so you can go down some quite deep rabbit holes, which for students and research is great, because if you don't know what you don't know, it's going to suggest areas that you may want to focus on and drill down into. It also gives you things like you can search images inside here, and so you can get images which relate to it. You can search videos. It will even generate AI-generated images, which I won't do in this video, but it will actually generate images linked to this. But where I also think Perplexity is quite powerful is how you can actually use it to create what is essentially web pages specifically related to your content. Now, this only works with the paid version, but I'm going to show you anyway, because I know quite a few schools have actually moved towards using Perplexity Pro and are looking at how it's going to reduce their resourcing budget, because you can actually create a lot of resources using Perplexity. So if I just click up here on the right, top right, convert to page, what it's going to do is it's going to turn it into basically a wiki page, but it's specifically linked to exactly what I want it to be on. So let's just give it a moment and it will just generate the page. So what it's done here is it's given me, an initial image, and then the introduction, and then a breakdown, and then it's given me the various sections. It's done quite a nice job. If you hover your mouse over any of the circles, it will actually show you, and you can just click on it. It will take you to the page. Okay, so it takes you to that specific page all the way through. You can add images in at any point. You can change. You can say, well, that's not quite what I want. I want to change that image. I'm going to put that one in there. But the other thing which is quite nice is it will also enable you to insert additional sections. So if I put insert section, I just put a glossary of terms. What it will do is it will give me the glossary inside the resource. There we go. The last thing to say is you can then share, you've got this is quite nice, I quite like, you've got the contents down here on the right hand side. You can then click publish, and then you just copy that link, and then you can just share that resource with students. They don't have to log in, they just have access to that page. So that's, I think that in general, it's worth looking at Perplexity. If nothing else, just the free version for research. But if you want to start sharing some quite decent resources with students, I think the paid pro version is certainly worth considering.